Okay, so welcome back. We're gonna start basically a brand new channel, and to start that off, let's go ahead and throw in this intro.
Funky.
Okay, so obviously this isn't an FRS. You guys have known me for driving the FRS for a couple years now. This is a BRZ. I bought this spare car a couple years ago. It was sitting around, and now we've put it to use because the FRS is kind of beaten up, needs paint, body work, etc., blah, blah, blah. So swapped everything from the FRS to this car and blew the FA20 in the FRS. So now we put a K24 in this car, running the stock transmission. Some of y'all probably already knew that if you follow my Instagram, but I just want to update everyone from the YouTube side of things because we're going to start making some fresh content again. We have a couple ideas for the new year, a couple personal moves that we're going to make. So we want everyone to be kind of a part of that or get to see, the process of that. So I'm going to give you a little breakdown of the car. So obviously, like I said, we swapped everything over, swapped the subframe, angle kit, nice little FDF. Swapped all of that over to this car, put a K24A2 in it. We're running K-Power Industries swap kit. All their parts are phenomenal. Everything was beautiful. Everything was shipped very safely. I would 10 out of 10, anyone that's wanting to do this swap to their FRS or BRZ, I totally recommend K-Power Industries. We're running the stock transmission just for savings, and we have 2 of them, obviously, because we had to buy a couple because we keep blowing them. But let's not talk about that because let's hope that it just doesn't blow and just lasts for a long time. Back to the engine. So a couple things that I did to basically the bottom end is swap out the oil pumps. Swapped it out for the K20 style oil pump because it allows for me to rev higher, and I love revving very high. Well, that looks pretty nice. Got everything mounted up on it. Windows tray, oil pumps mounted, chains ready to go. I just have to pull this little guy. And she's all tensioned up. And just to show you this old style, the original, God, this thing's freaking heavy. Ugh. Gross. So look at this giant thing. This is the oil pump for the K24. Took that off, replaced it with the K24 style because this thing's gross. And it doesn't allow you to rev high. It likes to grenade and mess up all your things. So we got rid of it. Another thing that actually kind of blows is that I thought I would be able to run this ACT clutch, but the flywheel style is different, like mounting points for this pressure plate. So I could not run it with K-Power's flywheel. So I had to put a stock clutch in this thing, but that's okay because I just want it to drive for now. If the clutch burns out, I'll replace it. I just don't have the money right now. We're saving. Another thing, we swapped the BC coilovers. Shout out BC Racing because I bought these coilovers maybe in like 2017, been in a lot of little wrecks, and these things are still going. They're not bent. Nothing's wrong with them. They're perfectly fine. So shout out BC because I love your products. Still got to swap out the rear coilovers. I'm going to do that today. Got to swap out the PBM control arms, which we won't talk about that. But I'm going to put the PBM control arms on this car. Swap a couple more things from the FRS, which is not in here. It's outside, to this car, just to get everything prepped and ready for the 2021 season, or 2022 season. By the way, Happy New Year, everyone. All right, so pulled all the old parts off of this car, or that car, put onto this car. And this whole time I've been wondering, why is my brake fluid low? Why didn't the brakes work on the car? And then taking apart everything, I find out somebody just cut the caliper and just didn't put anything back. So that's why. So I got these parts all cleaned up, all mounted on each side. We sprayed them off real nice. Clean.
Really nice.
Also got these nice fancy SPC tow arms. Funny story how I got those. Turns out some dude that used to own a BRZ was into child pornography, little weirdo, and his roommate sold me the parts to cover expenses of the police kicking in the door. So thank you to the roommate guy. The hell with the other guy. Gross. And here's the poor FRS just sitting. She's pretty disgusting. Those are body panels I bought that I'm not going to use. Gross. No offense to the guy that sold them to me, just not my style. Looks like it has gills, like a shark. Shout out Jason Evers. This is pretty much all him. And we're gonna rip all that wiring out and make a race car. So this thing's gonna be retired for a little bit, but she will come out of it one day. For now, it's this. All right, so parts are all swapped out in the rear. I still need to snag the hydro setup out of that car, dual caliper setup and stuff. I'm actually about to roll this thing out a little further and spray it off because I hate when it gets dusty and it makes me really sad. So we're gonna do that real quick. Psych, I lied. I didn't wash anything. I came over here to actually pull everything for the hydro setup, and then I remembered that it's a little bit more involved than I was thinking. So went ahead and pulled the axles and all that stuff out at once, and now I'm gonna put it on this car. So I'll have to wash it later. I'll have to stare at it with this mess, but that's okay. We're getting everything that we were gonna do later anyway out of the way. Sucks, but I'm here for it. Also, the reason for doing these axles is because these are 600 horsepower rated axles versus the stock ones that's in this car. I'm gonna pull these out, save them for spare, and this car is just gonna have no axles. It's gonna be just sitting, because it'd be nice to have spare at the track, even if they're factory axles. Like, anything's better than nothing, so we'll see what we get. Okay, so figured while I'm here, I might as well change out the brake pads for the rear and put in some stainless steel brake lines. So I got that done. Have to do the other three sides. Still need to change the axle on this side. About to get that done. Change the other three sides for the brake lines, brake pads, and then that'll be knocked out. Really happy to actually go over the car thoroughly and do little things that I actually would like to do instead of rushing through it trying to get to drive. So this is a nice little touches that'll stand out later. All right, so everything in the rear is just about done. Still need to do the front pads and front brake lines. Everything's set up for hydro. I just need to pull the old parking brake lines, but I do have the hydro sitting in there. It is mounted up. So now I just need to pull these lines out. So I got to get under the vehicle, and I think that I got everything set safe. I got some boards, jack stands, and the jack is sitting underneath the diff. So I think I'm good. Okay, so just to help anyone out with the FRS or BRZ that's trying to do a hydro setup, this made it easier for me. When I removed my parking brake lines, I actually ran my stainless steel lines through the same route as this ran and used these same little mounts underneath the car just to keep everything nice and clean and know that it's going to be safe. So here's the line in the back. There's a mounting point right here on this little piece of subframe deal. Underneath here, you can actually, if you pull this down, you'll see one that's mounted. I got it mounted there. Let me crawl under here. And then you can see right there, this is the one line that I got ran so far, but mounted it up here. Use the same little brackets for each one. And there's actually one right there. It's kind of dark, you can't see, but yeah, so one right here, right there. And then underneath this little panel, and then back here, you mount it up. And same thing on this side. I'll show you once I'm done over here, but I still have to pull the parking brake line for that one, so I can kind of show you as I go along maybe, but it's pretty easy. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the best I can on this side. Got a little 12 right here. And you can kind of pull this through, wiggle it out, see, little bracket right there. And then this one's a little easier, there's no cover for it, so you'll pop that off. That is the second one. And when I did, I took these apart obviously and put them onto my stainless steel lines, but makes it a lot easier to route these lines. Definitely headache free. Just use an extension to get that one. Drop that down. And then, yeah, you don't need one to get to this, but. Oh, come on. Trying to film while working on cars is tough. Okay, pull that through and you're done. And basically you take your other line and you do the exact same, just, you know, backwards, and you'll be done. Hydro setup, easy, easy peasy. And look who came to visit while I work on cars. Sam, your New Year's resolution is gonna be to lose some weight, because you are an absolute unit. All right, so I got this caliper mounted up. I had to do a little bit, you can kind of see here this fresh metal. I had to grind that down. Grinder. Just to clear for this bolt, this is the Dayton 1 dual caliper bracket for these vehicles. So if you ever have one of these that you're putting on, you're probably gonna have to clear this just a little bit. All right, so I couldn't really show a good example of the other side. Take that off. Grab this bolt so I can give you a good example. These are shorter than factory for the Dayton 1 calipers, or Dayton 1 dual caliper bracket. All right, so it's probably the same on this side. And yeah, so where that little thing's touching right here, I'm gonna have to shave down this knuckle just to clear that, to get it in there. All right, got that all done, and now you can see this bolt will go through there freely. So just a little bit of shaving just to clear that. You can use a box end wrench to tighten it up. Okay, so I got all of that mounted up. I just got to tighten everything, get the wheels back on, do the front pads. Just want to let it be known that these videos are in no way a tutorial on how to install parts on this car. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or here in the comment section. I will help with literally anything that I can. We may do tutorial videos in the future on how to, you know, on this chassis, but right now, just doing stuff that I like to my car. I'm not even almost organized enough to make content like that, but maybe in the future we'll get into that type of content. But for now, it's just me installing parts in the car. And it's not even that I'm too unorganized, is that I don't have the equipment to make that type of content just yet, but maybe in the future. Like even right now, I'm using an iPhone to make this footage here. So everything will progress as the vehicle progresses, as I progress, as the year progresses. So just stay tuned for even better content in the future. I will do that. All right, so now some in the car stuff. I got that line around the back here, a little three-way deal. Use these rubber grommets. Kept that all nice and clean. I will change this up in the future, probably run some 90s just so the lines are straighter, everything's a little cleaner. Same with right here, because I don't like how this goes and the way it fits on here. It's just not clean enough for me. So gonna order some fittings and get that changed out. But for right now, the hydro is set up. Doesn't have any pressure. I have to bleed it, obviously, but it is set. Everything's in the car that I need. Now we just kind of wait for parts and do some other little things that you'll see here in the future. All right, we are all done. Finally, my Lord. Brake lines are done, brake pads are done, axles are on, control arms are on, BC coilovers in the rear are on. We got a couple other things that I'm gonna do to this maybe this week. So y'all stay tuned for that because it's gonna be really cool. I'm very excited. A couple other little things, don't talk about that. Some other stuff I wanted to show off while we're here before I end this is these awesome Garage Moon Power and Core U-Works floor mats. I'm sure that you've seen them in different angles. Also this new steering wheel setup for the year. I won this at Stupid Cold where I blew my motor. And the white little things, I like that. Just the little touches. Yeah, interior of the car is straight. The hydro is mounted. Definitely exciting stuff. I'm ready to do more and more. I also put the boost gauge in here. I think it looks really good. like I said, more stuff to come. More little surprises that we're going to do the car, little touch-ups, make it look a lot cooler than it does right now. So next little video, the car will look different than it does right now. So stay tuned for that. Like, follow, and subscribe. Comment if you need anything, got any questions or whatever. Also, if you aren't already, head over to my Instagram page, Just Drift It Ryan. Give that a follow and stay tuned for more updates.